I'm going to give a warning. For the next few minutes, you and I are going to have a candid conversation, an uncomfortable conversation for some. So this is a warning to our listeners. But anybody that knows me at all knows that I'm a safe person. This is a safe place. This is not to say that everyone has to agree with me or John. After all, this is America, and everybody gets to have their opinion. So let's start with what I think is the hardest question first, and then we'll lighten up. Something people don't like to talk about is racism, and it goes both ways. I mean, buying the Taborian Hall, I found out the hard way. I'm the white girl that bought a significantly important African-American building, and I almost want to say that it kind of hurts my feelings.
I wouldn't worry about that. You're doing the right thing. Were it not for you, Kerry, that building would not be there.
Oh, see, that's what I want someone to tell me. Thank you, John. You and I are both interviewed in the Dreamland documentary that's airing on PBS, and I see you every week at this radio station. So we have become friends and sometimes talk and sometimes rant about black and white relations in America today. Our discussions often end with you saying, "We can't forget our history lest we repeat it," and me saying, "White people want to quit feeling guilty about what our ancestors did and move on." Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I can. Racism is a many-layered thing. It begins with tribalism, which becomes eventually classism. You know, that whole thing of dividing people up. So people want certain things. Once I really got the definition down of what this is, instead of hating, I just decided to embrace everything. The things that I don't like, well, you know, I just get away from it. I'm looking for the positive.
You really are.
So rather than be fighting with people about my rights, I'm just going to do what I think is the right thing. So I can embrace it all and make a decision that way, not have popular opinion change my way of living. When I say that, I mean, that's why I want to stay close to nature. So when you see me walking down the street, I'm not actually looking for a ride. I'm actually assimilating nature.
So don't offer him a ride if you see him.
Don't offer me a ride. I'm going to get where I'm going.
And live forever.
On a snow day, I might walk 3 miles to get here when other people can't or won't come. So I'm driven by nature. Really, most people think I'm just being casual about it, but I'm not. I prefer cooking my own organic food the way I want to eat it.
And he is an 80-year-old millennial. After the 60s and 70s revolution, I think many people thought equality for all at last. I know I felt that way. I know LBJ thought that when he tried to create what he called a great society. LBJ's quote is as follows: "A great society is to build a great society, a place where the meaning of man's life matches the marvels of man's labor." You are exactly an example of that because you work hard and you've had a wonderful life. But shortly after LBJ passed the 1965 Voting Rights Act, became the era of riots and destructions of property by African Americans on their own business districts and neighborhoods. You were a young man living during that time. It was a little before my time. Can you tell us how you felt and give us your theory on what happened?
I was scared about, it happening in my town. When you're removed from things, Detroit on fire, it wasn't as serious, but although I'm getting friends returning home because they lost their jobs, they lost things, they made a reverse migration.
Oh.
See, the migration of blacks to the large cities went on for about 70 years.
How many years?
70.
Yeah.
And so when LBJ implemented that policy and stuff, and people didn't get what they wanted, that's when the large cities went on fire.
What did they not get that they wanted? I don't know. I have no idea.
The program wasn't implemented immediately. Yeah, they made the legislation happen, but it was 10 years after before a lot of that stuff was actually implemented in the neighborhoods that they were in places where they needed to help people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For instance, in 1962, I saw Grambling College football team on TV. That was a major breakthrough. That marching band.
Is that an African-American school?
Grambling College.
Oh, okay.
In, 1962, in 1975, I was calling football for Grambling College on the radio.
Oh my gosh, I am going to rewrite your
So
bio.
I did that about 5 years. The thing I'm trying to show you is, yeah, he implemented legislation, but it took a while. And so people like me waiting to see this happen, it never happened. I was still doing the same things I wanted to do, just striking out on my own.
Were you frustrated?
Yeah.
But you didn't want to burn your city down.
I didn't want to. I never burned city. Never burn. Never do anything. I did anything that took me on crazy, frustrated marches. Now, when Acorn came into being in 1970, I was one of the few people outside of the usual block of on-air people that talked about their programs and stuff. They couldn't get any help. The local news, TV news, call them that local group. They wouldn't identify them as, oh, this is an organization out here.
And I don't think a lot of people know Acorn. The A originally stood for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it became a nationwide program.
Nationwide program.
Started by the same guy that started this radio show.
Yeah. So to be doing that was, I guess, what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to be out there, out in the street burning buildings. I went on a few marches in Birmingham.
But Acorn wasn't just about black people. It was just about poor people.
Poor people, marginalized people, losing their housing.
Which I guess probably was mostly African Americans, probably.
A good part of them. Look at what happened to 9th Street.
Yeah.
And it impacted, and then they moved a lot of the people out to the suburbs. That's where they usually wind up, but...
Yeah, when I moved down there to 9th Street, I learned from, you probably know him, Milton Crenshaw.
Yeah.
He was the first gentleman to come see me, and he took me down and showed me where his building was and where his wife and him had lived and all of that, and he said he lost his business when his customers started shopping on Main Street. He said, I lost all my customers. So after desegregation, I learned from being down there that the African Americans began to shop on Main Street. The white people decided to do white flight and moved out to the suburbs because the African Americans were shopping on the Main Street. And then the poor black business district just lost all its customers.
Lost all its customers.
And folded all across America.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that that's what happened to most of these African American black business districts.
I think that was a pushback. Yeah, I think that was a pushback from LBJ's.
Well, I think they were just shopping price.
Well, that too.
I mean, look what Walmart's done to small towns.
Yeah.
I mean, you come in with a good price. I mean, this mom and pop cannot compete with Walmart. And I don't think the African American stores could compete with the white stores.
They couldn't. No.
On price. Oh my gosh, our time is up. I just noticed. Okay, you have got to come back because I didn't get to a lot. We didn't even talk about the mindset of people today and get your wisdom and advice on what we think you and I can do. You've got to come back.
If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture of Kerry's face in the center of the screen. To watch the full-length interview, click the video in the top right. For more interview highlights, click the video in the bottom right. Thank you for watching.